But do they have the firepower up front and perhaps, more importantly, the resilience at the back to deal with the league leaders? We're about to find out. Perth 4-1 winners here at this venue. The last time they met on New Year's Eve, Andy Keogh netted a couple of those goals that particular evening. He's one of the changes for Tony Popovic's team. Let's confirm both sides for you. A couple of changes for the Mariners as well. One enforced, with Jem Karajan suspended for that red card picked up against Adelaide. Jacob Melling is included, and Matt Simon, as you saw, has served his ban and is back to lead the attack and the team as captain. Connor Payne is the odd man out, with Jordan Murray shifting into a wider role. Those two changes for Perth. Matt Sporanovic is fit again after a calf injury. He starts in place of Scott Neville in the defensive line. Further forward, Diego Castro is benched. That is to accommodate the return of top scorer Andy Keogh. As mentioned, he scored twice in that 4-1 win over the Mariners here on the last day of 2018. Some good attacking options in reserve for the Mariners. Hull, McGlinchey and Payne all available. Brendan Santalab into the last month of his career after announcing he'll retire at the end of the season. He's on the Perth bench alongside Diego Castro. Alan Stajic perhaps has 4 more games to prove he's the man to restore the Mariners to health on a full-time basis. At the very least, they look to have a little more resilience under the former Matildas coach. Tony Popovic probably wrote the manual on resilience. This time last year, Perth had conceded 43 goals. This year, it's 22. Last year, they'd also lost 9 times away from home. This year, that column reads 0. Referee tonight, Daniel Elder, who, despite his name, is one of the younger A-League officials. It is his 22nd appointment tonight. And it's Groundhog Day again for Chris Griffiths-Jones. I think he probably sleeps in that VAR booth. Two captains, both at the pointy end of the pitch. Matt Simon, after serving that 2-game ban after an outburst at referee Stephen Lucas here in Gosford against Brisbane a few weeks back. And Andy Keogh has had to bide his time on the bench the last couple of weeks, but back in the 11 today. He's now just 4 goals shy of Shane Smeltz's glory seasonal record of 17 goals in a single campaign. Warm night in Gosford. Pitch looks good though. Hopefully a good game to round off round 24. And it's the Mariners who get the ball rolling. Fair to say that a win for the home team would probably be the shock of the season so far, Robbie Slater.
Well, it certainly would be. First against last. Perth losing last week, but not a bad performance on their behalf. Tactically, Melbourne Victory got it right and got a couple of breaks to give them that win, but only lost 2 all season. Difficult to see them losing here, but the Mariners, they got pride to play for, really. Nothing to lose. I mean, Stajic, since he's come in, has certainly shored up the defence, and they just need to find a little bit more going forward, but they're up against a formidable side who will know that they've got Sydney breathing down their neck, only 3 points behind now.
Launched long by Shane Lowry, but well one of the air, ahead of Andy Keogh by Kai Rolls, who thumps it back from whence it came. Pitch has been heavily watered pre-game. You can still see some of the spray on the surface of the grass. Just a little statistical oddity for you to consider. The last time, well, the first time this season Perth lost a game was against Sydney FC back in December. A week later, they came here and thumped the Mariners 4-1. And of course, their second loss came only last week to Melbourne Victory.
It's quite ironic, isn't it, that given over the history of the Hyundai A-League, all their problems have come away from home. The only 2 they've lost have been at home against the 2 teams directly below them, Sydney FC and Melbourne Victory. And Melling has got a big job to do in the middle of the park with O'Neill. Kilkenny's been outstanding this season.
So is Matthew Miller, but that wasn't an outstanding ball. Easily intercepted by Jason Davidson. Now with Shane Lowry. And he's turned it over to Tom Hiardier. He was a little slow to assess the options in front of him. Chose Murray out wide. Swept clear by Sporanovic. Off the head of Economides. And then Keogh looking to link up with Chianese, who was tripped by Clisby.
Yeah, Keogh back into the side, and Castro, not a bad player to have off the bench, but nice flick for Chianese there.
Free kick floated over towards that right-hand side. The cutback, Chianese leaves it. Good save, Kennedy, to deny Andy Keogh with the outstretched leg of the Mariners goalkeeper. First real chance, and it's come Perth's way.
Yeah, it's a good save from Kennedy because he's going the other way, but what a super free kick. They get caught out. The run from Franjic in behind, intelligently cuts his back. Chianese dummies it, and that's a really good save. Keogh with a good connection. And that's, you know, one thing you got to deal with, Franjic and Davidson with this back three. He's been so successful for Tony Popovic this season. They play at times like wingers, Franjic and Jason Davidson.
Both are already stationed fairly high up the pitch in readiness for Perth's next foray forwards. Here is Franjic. Sporanovic with Matt Simon looking to apply some pressure. Glory comfortable enough in possession to play through for Hyundai. Then the intervention by Mallon, and the Mariners can spring forward. Stephen Mallon on the left. It's just a little bit wide of Aidan O'Neill, who lunged into the challenge. And that produces a yellow card. They did look a little late, in fairness, and Daniel Elder was well positioned and issues the first booking in the 4th minute.
Well, Davidson was so sharp as that ball is cut back. He's a touch unlucky. He's definitely going for the ball, but you can see he's a little bit high. Once you go to ground and that boot comes up, the studs come up, there's only one result.
Just ever so slightly over the top of the ball, wasn't it? That is his 10th booking of the season, including 2 that resulted in a red. So that means he will serve a 1-game ban for the 2nd time this season. Aidan O'Neill, he'll miss next week's trip to Melbourne Victory. Fresh back from the Olyroos, who got safely through to the next phase to reach Tokyo in 2020. Mallon's second best to Julbic. Here's Kilkenny. He's having an outstanding season. It's the right idea. Just a little overhit for Chianese.
The impressive thing from Kilkenny this season is how early he's seeing his passes. That time, his first thought all season has been forward. That time, just a touch overhit.
Kilkenny again. Bumped off it by Melling. It's all a little bit hurried at times from the Mariners. That's useful from Economides. Just the right weight for Franjic. Economides again. Touched by Chianese. Back through Kilkenny. Perth's 13-match unbeaten run came to a close on home turf last week. They are now unbeaten in 13 away games all told. The A-League record is 16. And they're pushing forward here through Ivan Franjic, who lashes a left foot shot wide of the target.
Yeah, and the switch again. And Franjic, Mallon's not sure because when he's receiving the ball, he's up against Julbic, but he's got to get back in and cover that run of Franjic. Franjic completely unmarked. He likes to come inside, take the shot on himself when it was really on for a cross. They had numbers in the box. There's the shapes to shoot. This is the chance.
That's the earlier chance for Keogh.
That's a good save. Outstretched left leg of Ben Kennedy because he's going the other way.
Ben Kennedy, incidentally, appearing in his 44th game for the Mariners tonight. His previous 43, he's conceded 90 goals. At least he's getting plenty of practice. Jordan Murray looking to take on Shane Lowry. He did well to get to the byline, but had plenty of Perth defenders for company. Couldn't get any real purchase on the delivery. Just on Sydney's win last night, Robbie, you think mentally that's maybe caused one or two nerves in the Perth camp, or Tony Popovich a little bit too experienced for all that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think he's got confidence in the team, playing with a lot of confidence. You know, if there was a poor performance against Victory last week, maybe a little bit different, but their destiny is definitely in their own hands, and this man on screen is not one to get too nervous. Of course, they do have the luxury of a better goal difference,
which is almost worth an extra point in itself. This is Hiardier. Ferried out by Simon towards Mallon on the left. Mallon looking for Murray, back post, who gets the nod down. Spranovic had Matt Simon well marshalled. Jordan Murray's offside. Of course, it was at this ground in 2013 that Tony Popovich, who was then with the Wanderers, effectively sealed the Premier's plate with a 2-0 win over the team then led by Graham Arnold. There's that previous action that confirms Murray was at least a metre offside. So good memories of this joint for Popper. There's their remaining games, 2 of them at home against Newcastle and Wellington. And in between, that potentially huge clash against Sydney FC, which at the moment is slated for the Sydney Cricket Ground, Robbie. Wonder if that might change after last night's events.
Well, you'd think so. Such a shame, because much of the talk was about the pitch when really the players put on a really good performance.
Here's Economides racing away down the left. Aspro across to meet him. Hyundai. Franic, as ever, available down that right-hand side. Hyundai again. Economides. A lot of numbers back for the Central Coast. Davidson. Not the best delivery from the left wing-back. Now Miller. It's a good climb by Lowry. Hiardier. By O'Neill for Rolls.
And of course, Sydney will be hoping for a Central Coast surprise. We're talking about the potential of Sydney back into the Premier's plate race.
Well, of course, if the gap were to remain at 3, then that gives Sydney FC a big opportunity, provided, of course, they can keep their momentum as well. And they've got Champions League commitments, which could complicate matters for them. All building to a very interesting climax to the season ahead of the finals. Keogh, good crisp passing by Glory. It's lovely stuff. Chianese just having to wait for the ball because it was slightly behind him. Joel Chianese, the opening goal arrives. Only took 11 minutes. And it's a very crisp finish by Joel Chianese.
Well, again, it's that right-hand side where Franic has got in many times. But what about the passing that led up to that? The last ball from Keogh to Chianese was slightly behind him. Here's the little interchange here. There he has to wait for it. And he's allowed to come inside, and he shouldn't be. And it's a really good finish. Low and hard across the keeper. Kennedy with no chance. But Clisby there has got to show him the line. Goes through the legs of Kai Rolls, and they've just had a problem on this side of the pitch in this opening period. and Kianese, clinical. Really good finish from Kianese.
5th of the season for him. Comes off the back of a game against Victory where he did miss 1 or 2 opportunities that might have given Perth at least a share of the spoils, or an opportunity to get a share of the spoils. And it didn't take too long, did it, for the league leaders to hit the front. Here's Matthew Miller, provider of 7 assists this season, but playing slightly further back at the moment under Alan Stajic, right fullback role. Keogh's been clipped. And Daniel Elder will bring them back. And they're asking for a harsher sanction than just a free kick for Kai Rolls. Let's have another look at it, Robbie.
Well, he certainly comes in late. I think free kick's probably enough. He was trying to play the advantage there because the ball Keogh played was looking to play Kianese in behind Clisby.
Kilkenny, first time ball, but Rolls the favourite here. Head of Franich. One in the air by Davidson. Shepherded back by Juande for Shane Lowry. Back with the Spaniard. Perth in a bit of a groove now. Here's Economides. Really get hold of it.
I got in between the lines nice. It was sort of a miss-hit flick from Keogh, but really good first touch from Economides, and it opened up for him. There's a really good first touch, and then just screws his shot wide. He did have Franich to the right, but I think he's well entitled to take that on.
Perth already started to tally up the opportunities. Maybe an ominous sign for the Mariners, who have never in their A-League history lost 5 consecutive home games. They're on the back of 4 straight losses here tonight. They've set all sorts of unwanted records down the years. One day the meat and the sandwich there. Spoke to Alan Stajic pre-game. Said this would be probably the biggest test that his team would have under his short reign, and a measure of perhaps how far they've progressed in those 2-3 weeks since he took interim control. I know he's worked a lot on their fitness and their structure. Just beaten by the only goal against Adelaide last time out. Victors, of course, in the F3 derby the week before. For Kennedy trying to steer it over the top of Asprey.
And you see as they pick up that second ball, that's where they need to go quick. There's not a lot of movement, plenty of numbers forward.
Mallon showing too much of it to Ivan Franich. Younger Irishman who's apparently attracting a little bit of interest from Irish national coach Stephen Kenny. Well, he was actually born in Belfast, but has opted to play for the Irish Republic. And he controls this one neatly. Jabs it back towards Aidan O'Neill. Mallon gets his head down, gets around. Ivan Franich, it's a tempting cross, only partly away by Sporanovic. The REA to return it. Now Perth will look to break through Economides. Melling in pursuit. And he cut through Kianese.
Yeah, sliding in. Again, studs up. transition from Glory. They just didn't have enough numbers forward. Economides lays this off and sliding in late. Dangerous challenge. A great ball from Mallon before. Stood Franjic up, dropped the shoulder, really teasing cross. Reddy couldn't come for it. And that's what those three centre halves do well. They defend their penalty area, their 6-yard box.
Davidson. Eases past Miller, as if he wasn't there. Keogh. Square of him is Kilkenny. Oh, it's a delightful ball. Franjic in behind. Just needed the finishing touch. And Perth would have been too clear.
And what about the pass from Kilkenny? He's got, to make it really safe, he can play it to the outside, but he goes inside. Super pass. Franjic in behind. And Economides. Should he get there? I'm sure Franjic would say yes. It's the perfect ball across the face of the box, and he just arrives too late.
Just off picture here, Juande has come to the sidelines to change his shirt. I think he's picked up a whack to the face in that aerial duel some moments ago, maybe a bit of blood. So ref Daniel Elder has told him to go off and change the jersey. Get some attention to that facial cut. So Perth just down to 10 for the moment. Keogh. Rolls was very tight in him again. They slip it through for Franjic. Economides in position, but well marshalled. And the sheer weight of numbers just did the job there for the Central Coast. But those little angle balls in behind are causing the Mariners all sorts of problems.
Franjic, how many times he's got him behind already in the 20th minute now? Just didn't have the numbers in the box. It was only Economides, and the Mariners had 3 or 4. This is the foul from Keogh. That will give the Mariners a free kick, but the advantage was played before for a challenge from Rolls on Keogh.
And that's why he's got the yellow card.
And Stajic needs to do something on that right-hand side. They're just getting in with ease.
That's a useful looking ball, and Miller is quick. So too is Davidson, who stays with him. Could be an opportunity brewing here for the Mariners. Murray just sort of side-footed it in the vague direction of the goal. Clisby gets a second go at it. Jordan Murray knocks it down. He was within his rights, really,
to go for goal,
to head towards goal. One back by Melling. Encouragement for the Central Coast, but then he's dallied too long, Jacob Melling.
Yeah, I think Miller there. There was no one really coming in from deep. And I think he's in a position there where if he heads that one back from where it come from, would have been a better option.
Best moment of the game so far for Alan Stadjic's team. O'Neill did well to readjust. Fast-moving ball. Clisby being pressed by Franjic. He's good enough to play around him. That's well played by the left fullback. Really tidy work. Hiaria. A bit of confidence flowing through the Mariners 11. Lovely ball by Miller that could be in here. And the angle was just a little too narrow for Jordan Murray.
Well, it's a great run, and another good run from Matthew Miller, who gives him so much down this right-hand side. And he's mishit that. That's a clear chance for Jordan Murray. Matthew Miller checks inside, outside of the boot. He's in behind, and he mishits it. He's trying to, I'm sure, try and go across Reddy, who's coming out. He's got the full instep on it. Now the Mariners with a couple of chances. well constructed as well.
Well, the one thing you're normally guaranteed with the Central Coast Mariners is goals. It's offside against Jordan Murray.
This is the yellow card for Riles, and that was after an earlier one.
Caught Keogh on the Achilles, didn't he? And that's an 8th booking of the campaign as well for Kai Rolls. It's another man down for the trip to Melbourne to play Victory next week. As if that task wasn't difficult enough.
Well, the positive thing here, apart from the obvious scoreline, is that the Mariners have created better chances than probably they did in the whole 90 minutes against Adelaide last week.
Unfortunately, Jordan Murray has spurned both of them. And at the other end, the Mariners are now, after that opening goal from Chianese, 30 games without a clean sheet. Kilkenny. Slightly in front of Economides. He loses out to Miller.
Well, he rarely loses a physical battle, Matthew Miller.
Simon's done well to keep that one alive. Mallon has to turn back towards O'Neill on halfway. Gets it back off Melling. It's good football. He tried to cut across Jason Davidson, who upended him, and I don't think Daniel Elder really has any other option but to book Jason Davidson.
Clear yellow card, and good play from Matthew Miller. Doesn't run the straight line. He cuts across Davidson, so therefore, if there's any challenge, he's got to bring him down, and Davidson took the bait. He's had a super 10 minutes, Matthew Miller. Of course, he's the main threat down this right-hand side.
Fourth booking of the season for Jason Davidson. No suspension worries for him, at least not yet. Here's Clisby. O'Neill. Mallon, who drifted in field, loses out initially to Kilkenny. What about that? Lovely little bit of skill from the Irish winger. Astro going the direct route, but it's easily tied up by Shane Lowry. Now Julbic. That's Simon hassling and harrying, as he normally does. And his persistence has won out for the Central Coast. They've not been able to do much with the throw, and now they're on the back foot. Economides with Davidson galloping forward on the left. Keogh in advance of the left full-back. Here is Davidson. Trying to bend it towards that back post. It's harmless enough in the end, but it will be a corner for the Glory.
They got good numbers back, the Mariners. Ball clipped to the back post. Chianese's there. Be off the Perth Glory player first onto the back of the head of Clisby.
Easy, the man whose goal divides the teams. Neil Kilkenny, deep in conversation with assistant referee Scott Edeling. Now he delivers. Front clear by Clisby. Kilkenny. A warm and still night on the central coast of New South Wales. Even the palm trees are dead still away to our right in front of the Brisbane Water. Economides, though, is on the move, linking up with Kianese. Down the line by Kilkenny. Throw in Perth.
Well, they certainly sorted the right-hand side after that first 15 minutes. Clisby much better positionally with Mallon coming back to help.
Keogh earns a corner off rolls. 13 goals for the season, his best ever seasonal return. Measure of their strength and depth that he's been sat among the substitutes for the last couple of weeks. Julbic looming as a threat from Kilkenny's corner. It is Dino Julbic! Oh, a towering header into the corner. He made his move early and got really solid connection. And Perth have doubled their lead.
Yeah, and the Mariners will be disappointed with that. It's a super header. The corner bending towards that group of players, and he just wants it more. And a super header, he just punches it back. From where the ball came from, Kennedy, no chance. There's not a lot of pace on it, but what it's got is beautiful direction. And over a host of Mariners players, Julbic just makes that his... He wanted it more, and that's a really good header. And from the set piece, they go two in front.
That's his first A-League goal since February 2015, Dino Julbic. So he's had a 4-year wait between drinks. So fully entitled to enjoy that moment, which clearly he did.
Well, there was a cluster of Mariners defenders there, and no one really attacked the ball. They were very static, and he just came over the top of them. It was a thumping header. Thumped it back from where the corner had come from.
So right on the half-hour mark, the league leaders looking pretty comfortable to extend their lead back up to 6 points again at the top. Is there a slight push on Matt Simon? Potentially.
I don't think there's a lot in it. I think he's just stronger. I mean, there wasn't a lot of complaints.
The reason we point that out is that it's exactly the point that Alan Stajic was making to the fourth official on the sideline, Ben Abraham, but all to no avail. So with a 2-goal cushion, Perth can now potentially play with even more abandon. Davidson. Economides. Gets the corner off Miller. The Mariners have just got to try and hang in there, Robbie. Get to half-time, first base, without further damage.
Well, I thought Stajic will point to those 2 chances to Jordan Murray. That was, you know, you've got to take them. When you get a chance against a side like Perth at home, you've got to take it.
So they scored from the last corner from the other side. Kilkenny again with the delivery. Flicks off the head of Davidson. Mariners have now conceded 61 goals this season.
Well, it's about getting to the end of the season for them. Try and limit the damage. They're 5 points behind Brisbane, who are in second last, only on 10 points. And dare to say there'll be another rebuild.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Will Stajic be the man to do those acquisitions? Here's Chianese, got the ball rolling for Perth. Ran into a bit of traffic. That's Simon. Picked up in the deep by Kilkenny. One day bowled over by the muscular presence of Matt Simon. He's got the old bung up the nose to staunch the flow of blood from that earlier clash.
One in the other nostril.
Yeah. Doesn't look too pretty, does it?
It's certainly accidental from Simon.
See what Keogh was trying to do there, just turn it around the corner for Chianese's run. One day. Spin by Chianese. Roll stuck with him. All rather subdued around Central Coast Stadium. Air of resignation, you might say, amongst the home fans.
Therein lies,
draws the foul.
Yeah, and it's clearly a foul, but therein lies the problem when they do win the ball, because they're so deep. You know, it's hard to find an option. Hilario just has to go on his own, draws the foul. You know, I think, what can the Mariners do to move this back three around, move Perth around? And
well, this guy's the key, isn't he, really? Yeah. Matthew Miller.
And you know, maybe get a little bit further forward, Miller. Trouble is, if you throw too many forward, Perth have that quality to hit you on the counter.
As mentioned at the top, he's got good attacking options on the bench. Hull, McGlinchey, Payne. A bit surprised Connor Payne didn't start today. He is their top scorer with 5. It's not the whole story, I'm sure.
Well, I think when the new coach comes in and he looks at the squad, and really he's judging on training, so you can only suggest that the players out there are the ones performing at training.
Andrew Hull still bothered by that troublesome foot injury. Told he's going for scans this week to try and assess what that's all about. He's been carrying it a while. Economides twisting and turning, trying to find space. He might just do that. Doesn't really have any right to, but he's picked out a teammate as well. Franich couldn't quite get the connection to link up with Keogh. Well, chase for Simon.
Easy one for Lowry, but looked impossible for Economides to get out of that situation, but he did. And it was a pretty useful ball back to Franich on the edge of the box.
Chianese. Kilkenny. Davidson could be a target here. He checked his run beautifully, but it's just overhit.
Close, because he was in. Just a metre over hit from Kilkenny. A 50-yard pass and
sort of end of season stuff, isn't it, for the home fans? Checking the phones. Yeah, they've been here on plenty of occasions this season. They support us. It's been a tough old year. Been a tough 2 or 3 years for this proud club. 6 years ago this month, Robbie, they won the grand final against the Wanderers. Seems an age ago, doesn't it?
The decline has been steady.
He was the losing coach that day. I don't think he's going to be the losing coach tonight, unless there's a miraculous turnaround.
Well, since this, well, the second goal, but really those 2 chances they had, it's Perth have just taken complete control of this game.
Even the sauce bottles look a little flat. Not even a breath of wind. Launched long towards Keogh. Oh, that could have been embarrassing, couldn't it, between Aspro and Kennedy?
Yeah, lucky there was no pace on it, so he's just cushioned that, so it was fairly comfortable.
Jordan Murray did well there to control that ball and play in O'Neill. And that's going to be a book in for Juan Day.
Yeah, and O'Neill's done well. He's injected himself from midfield to try and get him behind. Juan Day with the foul, and it's another yellow card. Just stop the momentum of that attack.
Fell heavily on O'Neill as well. So the Spaniard into the book. A card to go with the nasal bung. It's never a pretty look, is it? Remember Brendan Hamill having to wear 2 of those after breaking his nose a couple of years back. Played square by Mallon, the free kick. Clisby into the area. Jordan Murray trying to sneak in on the blind side. The REA. This should be Reddy's, and is.
And the counter's on if Perth want to go quick enough. Murray nearly in at the back post. A set piece switch from side to side to Clisby. He's hit a couple of decent balls.
Economides. Davidson in advance of him. He's happy to use him as a decoy. Economides has worked the angle well. Not a particularly strong header. Keogh trying to readjust to create an angle for the shot.
That's a good ball. Deserves someone attacking that from Economides. Brilliant wing play. Composure. A couple of feints to cross and eventually a left-footed cross that should have had someone attacking it.
Off the head of Kilkenny. O'Neill unaware of Chianese's arrival, blind side.
You see there, that's the stamp of Tony Popovic, isn't it? Discipline, working back. Chianese, I've never seen him fitter.
Yeah, he's got the best out of him, hasn't he, Tony Popovic? Spranovic. Very intelligent ball over the top again. Finding that space for Franic on the right. He's found a fair bit of it in this first half. O'Neill gets the better of Keogh. That's really well played. No foul by Keogh. Mariners fans thought there should have been. One day, Economides getting the feet moving to really good effect again, and then eventually unleashing straight into the breadbasket of Ben Kennedy.
And he's done something. Economides, as he struck that ball, is pulled up. That's the shout for the foul. Are they really concerned?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's obviously fallen awkwardly, and that's is at the right knee. It's given him some grief. And Andy Keogh in particular was saying, quick, get on the pitch.
Franic was suggesting it was the shoulder.
Yeah, it is.
It's how he falls. He hits that. It's a really good strike and falls awkwardly. Get a better look at it from here.
Yeah, I reckon the shoulder's popped. Immediately asking for medical attention. Well, that's really unfortunate for Chris Economides. Oh, I'm not sure we need to say this, to be honest, if they're going to put that back in.
Well, I was just about to say what a good game he was having in between the lines.
Had a very busy first half, hasn't he? Very much involved in a lot of the good stuff that Perth have done. The problem with those shoulders, of course, is that once they pop once, they tend to go again.
He's looking a lot more comfortable there.
Let's go down to Glenn Lauder, who's pitch side for us tonight. Evening, Glenn.
Simon, good evening. Yeah, just watching Chris Economides there. He's nodding to the doctor. I think he wants to continue. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but he was in all sorts of pain. And as Robbie just mentioned then, I've just been sitting back and being so impressed by how Chris Economides has played tonight, and particularly the way he's linked up with Andy Keogh, of course, who didn't start last week against the Victory. It's been fantastic the way they've played down that right-hand side Perth Glory tonight, and Economides has been well amongst it. I would say the Mariners would be pretty disappointed with how they have defended, particularly for the 2 goals, because when Alan Stajic came to the club, his mantra was defence, defence, defence. We saw a much improved effort against Newcastle, a much improved effort against Adelaide, and it's probably been a step back tonight. I'll just watch Chris Economides here as the 4th official announces there'll be 4 additional minutes. But he is going to wander up the tunnel, and I think it may be done for Chris Economides. We'll just keep an eye on it.
Thanks, Glenn.
They might wait till half-time and make a decision. All 4 substitutes for the Glory are warming up.
Probably working in for the next 15 minutes during the break. Glory comfortable enough with the 2-goal cushion in the first of those 4 additional minutes now to be added on. And here's Matthew Miller.
Maybe just a good opportunity if that's what the Glory are doing. Certainly looks like that for Mariners to just try and up the tempo, intensity against the 10 men, see if they can sneak one back before half-time.
Yeah, could change the complexion of the game. Melling.
They can afford to throw Miller a bit further forward.
It's a bit short of Miller, but he's done well to readjust and get around Davidson. Still going Matthew Miller. Eventually Franic says enough and thumps it away. And a chance for a little mini power play here for the Central Coast with that man advantage. Are they good enough, though, to take advantage?
That's what you don't need to do. Give away needlessly a free kick. Because Glory are going to be in no hurry to take it. Impressive Glory in the first half. Professional, discipline. Super first goal from Chianese, and A set piece, the Djulbic header gives them a deserved 2-0 lead at this stage.
As Brendan Santalab, among the Glory replacements, announced his retirement this week. He'll call it quits at the end of the current campaign. Big favourite of Tony Popovic, of course. Did so much for the Western Sydney Wanderers. And a chance to finish his career on a real high. Here's Murray. That's going to be a corner for the Mariners with half-time approaching. Big opportunity, this.
Well defended by Sporanovic there. It's the right ball from Murray, and Simon looks favourite. And that, as that comes across, with Sporanovic just with a little acceleration, does give away the corner though. And can the Mariners sneak one for their part from a corner, as they've conceded one.
Jordan Murray and Matt Simon are pretty good in the air, all dependent upon Mallon's delivery, but he only hits one day at the front post.
Yeah, poor corner. Fails to beat the first man.
Aidan O'Neill did the hard work and then promptly passed the ball over the sideline. It's hugely frustrating, not just for him, but I imagine Alan Stajic as well. Young player, though, still learning the game, on loan from Burnley in the Premier League. Says he wants to go back next year and really compete for a starting spot, providing Burnley survive, of course, in the top flight. Heading towards the half-time break. How do you sum this first half up, Robbie?
Yeah, well, I think Perth have been very comfortable. They had that little period where Jordan Murray had 2 chances. It was at 1-0, but disciplined, organised, professional. Important to bounce back after that loss to Victory last week.
And so far, they are on track to do that. Liam Reddy, against one of his many former clubs, has had precious little to do. Just a couple of half chances for Jordan Murray at the other end. Andy Keogh's been busy. Joel Kearnasey got the opener after 12 minutes. Keogh provided the assist for that. And then Kilkenny's corner headed powerfully home by Dino Djulbic. The only cloud on Glory's first half, that late injury to Chris Economides. We'll see if he reappears second half. But at the break, it is the Mariners 0, Glory 2. Stick around, we're off for a quick break, and on the other side of it, we'll have the thoughts of Glenn Lauder, who will be with Daniel McBreen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
okay.
Shootout, yep. Tara, what's coming up? Yep.
Look at that.
Shiny.
I'll definitely get a text.
Hey, for that, Gary. Ian, so what was the second Murray chance other than the one that I said? Ah, okay. Right.
Which one was it? Oh, Matt Miller. Yeah, okay. That's right. And he cuts it back to Miller, who sort of scuffs it across the goal. They've looked best down this right-hand side.
Right, yeah, Miller.
Miller again. He started off slowly, but got into the game.
Welcome back to Central Coast Stadium for some Sunday night A-League action. And it is the top of the table. Perth Glory leading the way after what has been a willing first half, but it's 2 goals to the visiting Perth Glory side that has them with the advantage over the Central Coast Mariners. Glenn Lauder and Daniel McBreen to take us through this half-time show. Macca, Perth came here obviously as the clear favourites. Mariners had a couple of moments, but you'd have to say Perth are well deserving of their 2-goal lead.
Yeah, it's probably a game where we expected top versus bottom, and Perth have shown their class. They've controlled the games, as you say, in large portions, and probably deserve, as you say, a 2-goal lead.
Andy Keogh didn't start last week, obviously back in the starting side tonight. He was crucial in the build-up to the first goal, but the Mariners' defence would probably be a little bit disappointed with the way they tried to shut down Joel Chianese down the right-hand side.
Yeah, look, Perth have had some joy down that right-hand side early, particularly in Franjic and Chianese down that right-hand side, but the defenders here, he's got him stood up. He just needs to show him the outside, and it's too easy for Chianese. He just rolls the ball inside and just nice finish with his left foot. But as you say, the defending side of that aspect, you're probably a little bit disappointed. You can see lots of numbers here back around the ball. As a coach, you're trying to sell him to show him the line and keep him away from the central area, and you don't get that opportunity. But a great finish nonetheless from Perth.
Is it more disappointing for the Mariners, given that Alan Stajic over the last month or so has worked so hard on this side's defence?
Yeah, look, he's obviously had to do that. It's a team that leaks so many goals, but these are the things that aren't corrected overnight, and it's things that need to be worked on. But when you're playing against the top team in the league, you know, they'll give them half a chance and they'll take it. Jordan
Murray has been in the side a lot more recently. Obviously, Matt Simon was suspended, and he's probably had the best of the Mariners' chances, but they haven't had much to show, have they?
They haven't, no, and I've been impressed with him over the past few weeks with some of his runs, and combining with Matt Miller down the right-hand side has probably been the best outlet for the Mariners as well. But he's looked, as you say, Murray has looked probably the most likely to score a goal and get any opportunities, but just that final touch for the Mariners and the desperation in the Perth defence has just held them out.
Matt Simon obviously had that 3-game suspension. He came back via the bench last week. Do you feel that Matt Simon is still maybe a little bit short of a gallop?
Yeah, he just looks a little bit off the pace a little bit, like he's trying hard, and he is fighting against 3 solid defenders a lot of the time on his own, and it's a hard work rate.
Yeah.
But we're used to seeing that from Matt Simon, but probably that break has probably had a bit of an effect on him.
And then going back to the Mariners' defence, conceding from a set piece wouldn't have pleased Alan Stajic. Matt Simon was suggesting there might have been a push, but Dino Djurbic was just too strong in the air.
He was, and it was fantastic movement for Dino Djurbic. If you watch his movement here, look, he's constantly moving. He's back and forth, and he cut away and went around and then just got up, and that's a fantastic header amongst bodies to be able to guide that into the corner away from the keeper. But he made that goal with his movement. He was even before the ball was looking like it was going to be played, he was moving around, shaking his defender, and as I said, in bodies to get up and hold his weight in the air and to guide that into the corner. That's a fantastic header.
You scored plenty of headers in your time. Going back across goal always feels a bit better as well.
It does. It looks good as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one blight for Perth Glory was obviously Chris Economides' injury.
Yep.
He was one of their best players in the first half, popped his shoulder. Do you think that we'll see him in the second half? It did look like it went back in, but do you think they might say 2-0 up? We've got big 3 games coming up.
Yeah, I think in a case like this, I don't see the reason to rest him. They can control the game, 2-0 up, away from home. They've got able guys on the bench to come on. You'd be like, right, let's... Because you look at him there, and you're thinking there's no way he's coming back. So I think they should rest him and just let him be right.
I think, judging by the reaction of Perth as they walked off, I think it's unlikely we'll see him again. Plenty more to come in the second half here from the Central Coast Stadium. And then we're back to the studio for Shootout tonight. Tara, what's up tonight?
Thanks, Glenn. Well, what a weekend we have to wrap up. It looks like the Premier's Plate has become a 2-horse race. We saw some mouth-watering goals and the SCG surface came under the microscope. The Big Blue, it dished up an absolute beauty thanks to magical Milosh, bar the surface that was presented, though. We wrap it all up and we'll look ahead to what's shaping up as the top-of-the-table battle between Perth Glory and Sydney FC. The Newcastle Jets finally have takeoff. Ernie Merrick may have put his finals plans to bed, but his side kept the door open in the fight for the top 6. Caitlin Ford, she showed some individual brilliance against Team USA. We look at the Matildas' performance against the reigning world champions. Archie, he has his Archibald Prize, and Darren Lewis joins us live from London with all the Premier League news. We'll see you straight after full time.
Welcome back to the Central Coast of New South Wales, where the league leaders are doing it pretty cruisy. At the moment, they lead by 2-0 at the break. Joel Chianese and Dino Julvic, the two men on target. Not too much for the Mariners at the other end. News of a couple of changes, one by either side of the break. Diego Castro is on. That's perhaps expected with Chris Economides suffering that shoulder injury first half. And the Mariners have also replaced Stephen Mallon with Connor Payne. Talking to the home side, let's hear from Alan Stajic. He's with Glenn.
Alan, probably disappointing to concede the 2 goals the way he did. How do you get back into this in the second half?
Yeah, look, I thought we actually had some good attacking moments, just probably lacked a little bit of finesse and cutting edge in the front third. But look, I'm happy with the way we tried to control the game and the ball, and, you know, a lot better on the ball than we were last week, and a lot more attacking moments. But you need that quality in the front third as well. And, you know, they scored off a corner and, you know, a good goal. But I actually think in terms of control of the match, it was 50-50. But, you know, moments are more important as well, and Perth have taken their 2 chances.
Changing things up?
Yeah, look, Stephen Allen's coming off, and we're going to put Connor Payne on just to freshen things up. But look, I'm happy with the way we're going. I think if we can get one, then, you know, we're back in the hunt for sure.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Claire.
The words of Alan Stajic, the Mariners interim coach. And a blast on Daniel Elder's whistle gets us back underway. Perth kicking from left to right, second half. This hasn't been traditionally a happy hunting ground for the Glory. They've won only twice here in A-League history. One of those, of course, on New Year's Eve. Barring a miracle comeback, Robbie Slater, you reckon that figure might edge over into 3 by the time we're done tonight?
Well, it's a totally different Perth Glory side that come to Gosford this season. Haven't lost an away game, and they're in control of this one. Connor Payne's an attacking move, I would say. Very direct. He's their top goal scorer. So Stajic's right. They can get one, try and get back into this game. Economides, you would think, I think he'd be okay. I think that's precautionary. And it's not a bad replacement, is it?
Isn't it just Diego Castro? A bit of defending to do here for Perth. Liam Reddy hasn't been exactly overworked so far. This could be potentially dangerous if Jack Clisby can perhaps hit it in that little corridor between the defensive line and goalkeeper. That's where he was aiming. Comes off Andy Keogh, and it'll be a corner.
Just a little bit too flat. Looked off the boot to be the perfect ball, and Keogh, as he so often does in a defensive sense, the first man and blocks it. We'll get another set piece, and Jack Clisby to take this one.
Just rolls it short for Melling. Swung away by Juande, who's had a change of jersey, by the way. He's now wearing number 32 as opposed to his normal 27 because of that bloodied nose in the first half. Rolls ball forward, catching Miller offside, which is why he didn't play at it. This is Jason Davidson. Diego Castro.
Oh, clever. Juande. Interchange with Castro.
2 Spaniards combining. Tell you what, Robbie, a lot's been made of Sydney FC's bench in recent weeks. What about this one for Glory today? Valapi, Santalab, Castro, Brimmer and Neville. Plenty of quality and experience there as well. Jabbed in field by Franich, and then Keogh helps it on and side-footed towards goal by Davidson. Didn't get any real power.
No, probably got caught there in 2 minds, Jason Davidson, whether to strike it or whether to maybe take another touch and cross it. Second option was probably the better one. Flowing move that started with the Spaniards in the middle of the park. Well, there's a lot of talk about the Premier's Plate, of course, and Perth's certainly the favourites, obviously with a 2-0 advantage here, but mouth-watering for the finals. When you think of the quality of that top 3, if you just concentrate on them with all their best players on the park. Victory, Sydney, and of course Perth.
There's a chance perhaps for the Mariners to try and steal in behind. Shane Lowry ensures that they don't. Connor Payne just waiting for any slip-up. If you missed the result from earlier on today. Adelaide defeated Wellington by 3-1, which means there's now a 7-point break between the top 6 and Newcastle in 7th. Top 6 almost home and hosed.
Well, what is exciting after that, sorry, Simon, is that's really thrown 4th spot right up in the air. Adelaide, great result for them, falling behind.
By Hiardier. Miller trying to make progress, but he got the final touch in that duel with Jason Davidson. Gives the referee's assistant a hard stare. Perhaps the replay might tell us a different story. Let's see.
Well, I think it's a double ricochet. It probably does come off Miller in the end, but you know, just looking at that 4th spot, which is important because you get a home final, of course. 37 points, Wellington. Adelaide now 37 points, and Melbourne City 36. There's the live ladder.
It shows that Perth would restore their 6 points gap at the top. This is Franich. Awkward one for Aspro, and Kennedy comes out to claim safely. O'Neill. Okay, good challenge by Lowry. He's had a very steady campaign. Doesn't get a lot of headlines, Shane Lowry. Really important components of that back three. Keogh's offside here, which should probably be no surprise. He leads the league in that particular statistic. He's the new Bessart Berisha in terms of offsides. There's that stretch by Lowry. He's just offside, isn't he, the Irishman? Aspro, left it short. Intervention by Davidson, and he was upended by Miller. In the act of trying to win the ball.
Well, it's a shame he got some contact, and there was contact on Davidson because he'd lost the ball.
Daniel Elder telling Matthew Miller that was far enough for the throw. Perth quickly back on the ball. Keogh slings it out towards Franich, but it was only in his vague direction. Clisby going over the top, looking for Simon and finding him. A little ripple of excitement around Central Coast Stadium. Aidan O'Neill. Miller pushing forward on the right. They go left instead. It was probably the wrong option. And Castro intervenes.
Yeah, had Miller bombing down that right-hand side. That was the ball. Aidan O'Neill checked and came back the other way. Terrific recovery run from Castro.
Cushioned by Aspro. Melling was aware of the imminent arrival of Castro. Clisby. Jordan Murray has swapped over to the left flank for this second half with Connor Payne on the right, even though he is left-footed. Inverted wingers, if you like. Not a bad delivery, but Sporanovic was well positioned.
As he has been all night in those three centre halves, Lowry, Djulbic and Sporanovic. The Mariners controlling possession in this period.
Baby steps for Alan Stagic's team. Long launch, and Aspro got a piece of it, and then across the face by Payne. And nobody on hand to apply the finishing touch. O'Neill gets the benefit of Franic's touch. Just a little bit of pressure being applied by the home side. Here's Melling into a useful area, and Sporanovic was there again.
Well, I'm not sure whether Connor Payne was shooting, but it ended up flashing across the face of the penalty area inside the 6-yard box. Good period for the Mariners here.
And that's the sort of spark that Connor Payne has been brought on to provide. Iario floating it forward, and it'll drop kindly here for Murray. Behind him is O'Neill. Clisby wanted it. Instead, it goes back through Jacob Melling, who got caught betwixt and between. An unfortunate end to a promising passage of play.
Yeah, because they pushed Perth back and they got very deep. This is Connor Payne. I think he's shooting, but it doesn't matter. It's flashed across the 6-yard box. Sporanovic, he has been outstanding this evening.
Perth have been near impregnable when Sporanovic plays, which, fortunately for the Glory, has not been too often this season. That was an appeal for handball against Aspro that goes unheeded.
Well, the intervention or the interception from Aspro was crucial because Chianese was trying to play Keogh, who would have been one-on-one with Kennedy.
He'll be with the new Western United club next year. Jonathan Aspro Potamitis, to give him his full name. Very pleased, he's happy to go by the moniker Aspro. Here's one day. Davidson free on the left. Goes first time for Chianese. They couldn't quite readjust in time. Heavy touch by Melling. Perth back on the offensive. Kilkenny. Sliding challenge by Aspro. And the Mariners can't get out. Davidson. Chianese. Castro, top of the box. Trying to lead the Mariners defence, a merry dance, and he's upended by Melling. Penalty. And this could well be game over if they can convert this, Perth.
Well, that's where he's so good in tight areas. He stood up 3 defenders, shaped to shoot with his right, comes back on his left, and he just threw it out there for someone to have a go at him. And Melling, with a real poor decision, he's nowhere near the ball and clearly takes Castro down. It's clear a penalty, as you'll see.
Neil Kilkenny is 4 from 4 from the spots this season, all of them away from home. And if he tucks this one away, you'd fancy that's game over. But remember, Ben Kennedy was the hero from the penalty spot a couple of weeks ago in the F3 derby. Save from Roy O'Donovan twice. Really, you fancy he's got to stop this to maintain the Mariners' interest in this particular contest. Kilkenny, the man nicknamed Killer, is deadly from the spots, and it's 3-0. And surely that's enough.
Yeah, concentrated. Sends keeper the wrong way and dispatches it.
And that's how it arrived.
Yep, clear foul from Melling, poor decision from him. And what about this, keeping his composure, dispatches that bottom right-hand corner. Keeps his perfect record, Kilkenny. Never looked like missing.
5 from 5. And the Glory are 3 clear.
And it was their first real attack of any note in the second half.
Just a bit of quality, isn't it?
That's what it is.
From Diego Castro. That's risky by Aspro, and they could be in trouble again here. Castro. Little flick with the outside of the boot for Franic. Castro wasn't happy with that attempt at a tackle by Clisby, and let Jack Clisby know all about that. It's had a little kick out as well as they went to ground, did the Spaniard.
It's just another example of how he's so good.
You know,
in
you
tight
can
areas.
get into trouble
Yep.
for that quite easily. It's not to say that Clisby didn't foul him, but just a touch of retaliation from El Maestro. Miller, first of the loose ball. Melling. Murray. Trying to sling it in towards Matt Simons. Baranovic there again. He's won pretty much everything aerially. O'Neill. Chiarier. O'Neill again. Can they find a way through? Melling moves it out towards Miller. The angle just wasn't there. Davidson. Oh, it's clever from Castro, just ducked underneath it. Knew that Franic was behind him.
See Castro use to the body, quick feet. He really is one of those players you can play the ball to him in any situation. It's such a luxury to have a player like that. That even when he's got players around him, you can still be confident to play it into him, and he's going to keep it.
Just that little snapshot there. It's his game awareness as well. It's not just his feet, it's how quick his brain moves. There's Julbic. Castro. That's maybe a little bit over-elaborate, but retrieves the situation. And spares us the commentator's curse. To the final half an hour of what has been a rather one-sided contest for the most part, but it's played out pretty much as we would have expected.
And you have to admire the way they move the ball as well, Perth. They zip the ball around. There's no passes under hit. More often than not, in that middle third, it's one touch and they're laying it off.
Castro again, getting the better of Clisby and finding the gap for Kilkenny. So intelligent. Davidson. Chianese outside him if you need him. Settles for a quarter off Matthew Miller.
What about Castro? He's really got no right. Throw in, little flicks it back, takes Clisby out of the equation. Then little touches. Not only does he keep it, a little pass at the end, and Perth were on their way.
He is just a quality player, Diego Castro. It's great to be watching him in the A-League. Kilkenny's corner, arriving at the back post one day, and it went off Kennedy and the post. And they were close to a fourth, the Glory. The Mariners now spring forward. Connor Payne on the ball. He has Jordan Murray available. Can they get one back here? Jordan Murray hits Baranovic, drops for Payne. Bundled over by Kilkenny. No penalty. Still alive for Connor Payne. They're trying to force the ball home through sheer force of will there, the Central Coast, and it just wouldn't go in.
Well, they nearly went four down the other end. Yuandi came in late. Terrific run from him. Side of the foot. Kennedy just makes himself big. It hits him and goes off the post, and then down the other end, and Perth do what Perth do best. They just get players around and they just smother the danger.
Mariners corner, met by Juande near post. Clisby trying to fire it back through traffic. Murray scrapping with Keogh for the loose ball, and Murray is adjudged to have committed the foul, which, again, the home fans aren't impressed with. Real good action there at both ends of the pitch. It probably is a foul by Murray. There's that shout for a penalty. There's no appeal by Connor Payne, perhaps crucially. There's Chianese trying to get around Miller. He's done so. Aspro stepping across Andy Keogh. Simon the outlets. Ferries it infield for O'Neill, then Melling. It's better football. Andrew Hall's going to be with us shortly. There's the Mariners' second change off the bench. Clisby. Back through Kai Rolls. One or two groans of frustration from the home fans. Miller.
Well, it's the Popovich wall. So well organised. Every player disciplined. And it's just so difficult for the Mariners to play through them. And probably just lacking a bit of quality to be able to as well.
Kilkenny, his 6th goal of the season, has probably made the point safe. It's just a matter of how big the margin of victory is. Of course, it also means that that goal difference at the top, Robbie, blows out again. Perth now plus 28. Sydney in second, plus 15. All of which really means that realistically, if it stays like this, if Perth beat Newcastle at home next week, they will be the premiers. 15-year wait will come to an end. Here's Castro. Keogh.
Good challenge.
Jack Clisby.
Yeah, it looked like a goal kick. He initially gave a corner, but Castro going one way. Keogh with a diagonal run. And they've done well to come back and smother that.
Well, it might have been different for the Mariners had Jordan Murray converted those 2 opportunities in the first half. Wasn't able to do so, and he takes his leave to be replaced by Andrew Hall. Yeah, he's got 3 goals in 14 previous appearances against Perth, which is his best return against any A-League outfit.
Important touch from Shane Lowry there, as Simon looked to skip away.
Franich caught high by Aidan O'Neill. O'Neill is on a yellow card, but Daniel Alder is not going to take any further action. Yeah. Both players' feet were high, in fairness. Free kick enough sanction there for you, Robbie?
Yep. There was no malice. Both players clearly going for the ball.
Keogh, lovely little turn around the corner for Castro. Important challenge by Aspro. There's Andrew Hall's first involvement. Punches it out towards Miller on the opposite flank. Alongside him is Hiarie. Payne. Well, evades Melling, but it falls kindly for O'Neill. He'll bring Jack Clisby into the play. he find the angle for the cross? He can, but it's too deep. And there was no pressure on Jason Davidson back post. And he got a good strong shout as well from his goalkeeper, Liam Reddy.
Still impressive under pressure. Still from a couple of Mariners near him. He's had a super season as well, Jason Davidson.
What's the old saying? Strikers win your matches, defences win your championships. That's been one of the big differences for Glory this season. Conceded over 50 goals in each of the last 2 campaigns. This time around, it's not even half that. That's the Popovic effect. Nobody will be feeling this awful season for the Mariners more than Matt Simon. Local boy. Sort of player that you'd imagine they probably need to stick around as they look to rebuild next year. For the dressing room as much as anything else. Chianese.
Well, I think when he moved here, he signed a 2-year contract, so you would imagine he will be here.
Castro offside. Tony Popovic is going to introduce Brendan Santalab into the action shortly. Oh, I'll tell you what. Should probably have been play on.
Yep. Looked to have timed that perfectly.
Yeah. Into the last 20 in Gosford. Andrew Hall on the left. Looking to cut inside and maybe unleash. Oh, that's far too strong a word for it, in fairness.
Well, it was a decent opportunity because it opened up for him as he sort of drifted inside and didn't get a hold of it at all. Chianese holding the back. His hamstring. See him pull up there.
He's just scuffed it, hasn't he, Hull? Just glanced on the top of the ball with the studs. Maybe that's that foot injury, who knows? So Perth will make that change. And Brendan Santalab, who made the news this week, announcing his retirement after a very long career in football, which headlined, of course, in an Australian sense with Western Sydney Wanderers, is going to replace Joel Chianese, who got things started for Perth in the first half, made the opening goal on 12 minutes. And again, just another indication as to the strength of the Glory bench when you can bring on an Asian Champions League winner, as he was with the Wanderers.
And smart substitution. Looked like cramp from Chianese. You don't take a chance when it's in the hamstring area.
It's probably the only cloud for Tony Popovic and Hayden Fox today. That's injury sustained by Chris Economides first half, and maybe now just ever so slight concern over Chianese. Otherwise, it's been a perfect night for them so far. Keogh. Castro has played his part off the bench, winning the penalty. Kai Rolls still on that longest ever run of an A-League player without a win in history. 27 matches he is now without a win. Missed out on the Mariners' 2 successes this season for one reason or another. collected. Perth fairly took a dive, Shane Lowry in particular.
Well, Lowry was adamant, wasn't he? Looks to be contact.
Yeah, no, there is. Let's go down to Glenn Lauder.
Yeah, Simon just spoke to the Perth Glory bench, confirmation that was just cramp for Joel Chianese. They were in fact going to substitute Andy Keogh before Joel Chianese pulled up. They had to quickly change their substitution. And on Chris Economides, straight dislocation, nothing more serious than that. Hopefully it's popped back in and he'll be okay for next week.
Thanks very much, Glenn. That's good news. Here's Miller meantime. They want to be a part of those celebrations if they beat the Jets as well. Andrew Hall trying to reduce the deficit. Again, got into a good position, but this time saw his effort blocked. Ivan Franic is the furthest forward at the moment for Glory. Should ensure a bumper crowd at HBF Park again next week as well. Had over 17,000, record A-League crowd last week. It's a great atmosphere over in the West for the victory game. The party somewhat pooped, of course, by Kevin Muscat's team. Santala completely lost track of where the ball was there. Wow, Dino Julbic and Matt Simon careering into each other. Julbic the offender. No quarter ass non given between those two. Rugged, robust competitors, and Simon's got the worst of it.
Julbic trying to get in front of him, and definitely illegally. Very strong challenge. Could have got a yellow there. Takes quite a bit to flatten Simon.
Got on the score sheet today, Dino Julbic. Last goal he scored in the A-League was in a 2-2 draw between the Glory and Brisbane, February 2015. Matt Simon's up and about, if a little tender. Not scored since January, Matt Simon. Has 4 for the season. What the Mariners wouldn't give for one tonight, just to give them a little bit of hope or even some consolation. They found chances difficult to create against this very stubborn Glory rearguard, who are set for their 10th clean sheet of the season, which will be a new club record for them. If they can keep the Mariners out, that is. Yardia telegraphed that one. Came off Davidson a little bit strong though, which favoured Aspro. O'Neill. Supposed to be the option. Looking for the give and go with Hull. They get a throw. Andrew Hall, I should say, trying to wriggle through a non-existent gap, draws the contact.
And Hull will take this. We know he's got very good delivery from set pieces. Maybe the Mariners can find some joy. The set-piece delivery is more not often than not found the first man, and Hull deliver one with a little bit more quality.
Liam Reddy on red alert. There's not an awful lot to do. Clipped in by Hall. Oh, it came off the Glory defender, hits the crossbar. So close to an own goal. The closest the Mariners have been all night, and it was very nearly friendly fire that did the damage for Liam Reddy and for Perth.
Well, Hull doesn't beat the first man, but it loops over. And I think it was Aspro coming through, couldn't readjust. Off the crossbar, there's Aspro, who probably just surprised him at the back post.
He just misjudged it completely, didn't he, Jonathan Aspro? Brendan Santalab, that was not the sort of involvement he wanted off the bench. He's used to scoring as a substitute, but not in his own net. So a little scare for the league leaders, and they survive.
No, definitely not.
Scott Neville's going to be with us shortly as Glory's second change. Monday's turned the ball over rather casually. O'Neill inside the penalty area, trying to square it up for Matt Simon. Phil Kenny moves it out towards Davidson. Into the final 10 minutes in Gosford. Sunday shootout still to come on the back of tonight's game, of course. A review of all the weekend's action. Here's Castro driving through the gap, and he's dragged back by Jacob Melling. Here's that change we were talking about with Scott Neville. The Mariners are also going to make their third one. And Matt Simon, who took that heavy knock from Dino Djurbic some moments ago, is going to be replaced by Michael McGlinchey and Jason Davidson is the man whose number's called to be replaced by Scott Neville. So McGlinchey takes the captain's armband. Michael McGlinchey, incidentally, the only survivor of the Mariners' 2013 grand final win, still at the club. And of course, he spent a fair period of the intervening time away from here with Wellington Phoenix. The last link to the glory days, which are on the brink of returning for Perth. Little scoop forward by Kilkenny from the free kick. Up in the air by Hiarie. Santalab. Spranovic giving Reddy a rare touch.
Yeah, and Perth have been pretty content to just let the Mariners have the ball in their own half.
Here's Miller. Ruppler Simon when he's on the ball. It's not a bad delivery. Steered clear for now by Djurbic. Brought down by O'Neill. Payne trying to shift it further inside for Clisby. Got his angles wrong. Santalab. Castro. Rarely flustered, is he?
Well, I'd say his entrance into the game has been the highlight in the second half. Some of his touches, some of his little runs.
Big week of Champions League coming up, of course, involving both the Victory and Sydney FC. 2 games Wednesday night. You can watch them both live on Fox. Guangzhou Evergrande against Melbourne Victory. Sydney FC against Shanghai SIPG. Crucial games both.
Well,
if you want to stay alive.
If you want to see some quality, get yourself to Jubilee. SIPG. And an abundance of it.
Here's Castro. Santalab was the option, surely. Castro delayed too long.
I don't think he saw it, but that was the ball. As soon as he picked it up, Santalab completely unmarked.
Instead, attention switches to the other end with Andrew Hall for the Mariners. And again, they just cannot find a way through. Reset through Clisby, now O'Neill. Andrew Hall. Just can't dig it out. Andrew Keogh went through 360 degrees, I think, twice there before Castro almost said, for goodness sake, let me sort this out. Just a bit sloppy from Perth. And Hull takes that first time. He's probably got the angle for the shot.
Yeah, he was trying to control it with the inside of the left and probably thinking about his next action rather than concentrating on controlling it. It was a decent crossfield ball. You know, they've had some entries into the penalty box, but they just haven't found the quality to really make Reddy work at all.
Melling straight at Lowry. One day. Useful ball into the channel for Brendan Santalab. Castro alongside. Intelligently finding Santalab. The shot was blocked. Now O'Neill. Franich adjudged to have been over-eager on Aidan O'Neill. Melling. Taine. Crossfield switch for Hall. Useful first touch as well. Drives for that little space. Eventually Sporanovic sorts out the issue for Perth.
It just wouldn't come off. Quick feed at the start, little inside, but just again, Perth defends so well their penalty box. Just enough bodies.
Clisby. Telegraphed that one, and Wanda was able to read it. Perth get the throw.
It's been excellent, those two in the midfield, Wanda and Kilkenny this evening. Let's have the back three.
Santalab. Scott Neville. Kilkenny. Back through one day. Castro. Patient from Perth. Sporanovic now looks to lift it over the top. Just put a little bit too much on that one. Kennedy able to come out and gather. Hull. O'Neill with a bit of room in front of him to advance into. He's put it just too far in front of McGlinchey. They will get a corner though off Lowry. That will feel like scant reward, no doubt.
Just how good have they been, that back three? This time it's Lowry coming across from his left centre-half side.
Sporanovic had to make that, and he got a thump in the back for his troubles as well from Aspro. Hence the whistle. But he's been outstanding, Matt Sporanovic, as you mentioned, Robbie, and in his near 11 games this season, that's all he's been able to muster. He has been troubled with injury again. during those 10 3/4 games, Perth have conceded just 6 goals. Clisby. Spranovic again, another corner. Looked a little inelegant, didn't it, off Spranovic, but did the job. Deep inside the final minutes of the regulation 90, Hull's corner. Spranovic again.
And you hear Reddy barking out the orders. He doesn't give them a minute's rest. A bad season for Liam Reddy as well in goals for Perth. Oh, really? No one's had a poor season, have they?
Miller's cross, Spranovic again aerially. You know, for all the clubs that Liam Reddy has played for, he's never won the Premiership or the Grand Final. Floated forward by O'Neill. Miller taking a ride on the back of Scott Neville. So he's surely about to put that right, Liam Reddy. His long and eclectic career. The odyssey around the A-League. He's finally going to get some medals.
As early as next week, possibly.
One of his former clubs, Newcastle, might have a bit to say about that, of course. It's the first of 3 additional minutes at the end of the 90. Melling. Poole. Again, that could have gone anywhere, but guess who was there? And Spranovic yet again. And the Mariners get a crumb of comfort from what's been a tough night, really. Poole's delivery. Dino Djurbic taking his turn. The end of the ground where he scored in the first half. The in-swinger from Clisby. Spranovic again. It's like Groundhog Day.
Spranovic, Djurbic, Lowry.
Succession of corners for the Central Coast. Liam Reddy will want that clean sheet to take him to 10 for the season. Poole, it's a useful ball, and arriving was Jonathan Aspro. Had to take it first time. He got decent contact this time, but couldn't convert.
Yep, ghosted in. Started central, wrapped his run around to the back post. He's the one, of course, after that free kick from Hull, came off Santalab to hit the crossbar. He was the one following in. That's a real chance. And they've had plenty, as I said before, they've had plenty of entries into the penalty box, and it's the one area they certainly need to improve.
You can break down their clearest opportunities really into 2 for Murray in the first half and 2 for Aspro in the second. Here's Hull. Into the 4th minute of stoppage time. Check of the watch from Daniel Elder, and that will do. There was to be no upset in Gosford tonight. Perth march on. 6 clear at the top again. They may well be premiers as early as next week when they host Newcastle. Tonight they were far too good for the Mariners, who've now lost a club record 5 consecutive home games. Glory remain unbeaten on the road and seemingly unstoppable in that quest for that first trophy in 15 years.